My mom wants to use my scholarship money for herself. So I'm 20 years old, and I'm currently in university and living in a dorm. A little background story. My mom and my dad are divorced and are not on good terms with each other. My mom has also been abusive, both emotionally and sometimes physically, for about 10 years with me and my sister. I'm still in contact with her, but in a very formal and distant way. My relationship with my dad is really good. So basically what happened is that ever since the school year started back in September, my mother has been pestering me about getting a receipt and an invoice from the dorm I'm staying at so she could ask for a scholarship or something like that. This whole time, I've constantly refused and excused it as me forgetting and shit like that, when in reality, I just didn't want to get it for her. Come the last week of October, I'm visiting my dad for the weekend. My parents live on either side of the country, and my uni is close to my dad's place, and my mom texts me again to tell me that she still doesn't have the invoice and that she desperately needed it for the scholarship. After 2 months of her pestering me about it, I take the chance and bring up the issue to my dad, since he's the one paying for everything. Keep in mind that my mother made my dad pay for both me and my sister's college and residence because, according to her, she doesn't have any money to afford it. She does have money, might I add. She'd just rather spend it on clothes or shoes and going out to restaurants acting as though she's rich. Obviously, my dad tells me to text my mother back and tell her that I cannot give her the papers she wants because my dad has to give his consent, which would be a huge obstacle for her since she avoids talking to my dad as much as she can. Ever since I texted her that message, she's been completely quiet. No calls, no texts, which was kind of weird. But I did not question it, since I don't like talking to my mother anyways. Fast forward to this week, my mom calls me and starts telling me how she ended up calling my dorm reception and asked for the papers herself. I was of course annoyed at this point, because I honestly should have seen it coming, but didn't do anything hoping it wouldn't come down to that situation. So when my mom told me that they did email her the papers, I was furious. I contacted my dad, and he was also furious because, first of all, my mom is not present in any of the papers signed by me or my dad. Therefore, who is to say that this woman was even my mom? And second, because they gave her the papers without even asking me or my dad's consent, which is a huge violation of our privacy. I've already talked to my dorm director, and they profusely apologized, and they told me they would take it into account next time my mom decides to call, if she does. I'm still pissed though, because now that my mother has those papers, she can ask for that scholarship, and if they end up granting it to her, then she's going to be given money every month that is supposed to be paying off my tuition. A tuition she isn't even paying. The worst part is that I know 100% for sure I'm not going to be seeing that money at all, and that she's going to be spending it on clothes and other things that are not basic necessities. Like, for example, me being able to buy food. Like, how entitled do you have to be to ask for a scholarship on a tuition you're not even paying for just so you can spend it on yourself?